Hello, everyone. Good morning to all, and welcome to West Harlem Development Corporation's 2024 CBG Info Session. My name is Franklin Nibbs, and I am the office coordinator here at our office. Please, before we start our info session, I would like to ask you folks of a few things. Number one, please turn off the mute button on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Two, please hold off on your questions and we will get to them at the end of our info session. And three, please, I need you all to type in your full name and your organization's name in the chat box. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome all to you, West Harlem Development Corporation's Executive Director, Ziad Ramadan. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody can see me. My name is Ziad Ramadan. I'm the Executive Director of the West Harlem Development Corporation. And we are opening up our community-based grant for the year 2024. Many of you, and I recognize many of you, have been with us and providing good programs into the community for years now. We want to continue to do that. The community-based grant is created so local non-for-profits, and not just big ones, small ones as well, especially small ones. We wanted to make sure that they thrive and survive, especially during the COVID era, as many of you recall. But because you guys provide nurturing and enriching programs that could be shared with predominantly the West Harlem community. When we say the West Harlem community, we say that because we're required to say that. The community agreement with Columbia University requires that most of the expenditures be in West Harlem. So if you're not a West Harlem-based organization, that's actually okay, but you have to serve over 75% of the constituents in the program in West Harlem. It's essential, especially in these difficult times, in connection with things like affordable housing and senior services, economic development, youth services, education, the arts. These are things that we struggle with. And we want to make sure that your organizations and whatever you specialize in provide enriching services, ways to make the quality of life of your neighbor here in West Harlem better. We want to make sure that our kids, don't go on a summer slide. We want to make sure that we surround them with opportunities, whether they be doing internships at music establishments like the National Jazz Museum, for instance, or give them an opportunity to be in a camp that's also educational and enriching, like the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, or the various camps at Riverside Hawks, or other learning opportunities, whether they be in health and sciences and any kind of educational opportunity and athletic as well. We want to keep them nimble and healthy, and the senior services as well. It's really important to engage our seniors. It's really important to keep them active, to give them enriching programming, not just entertainment and not just painting, but move around and get to see really amazing cultural events. We're really passionate about that here at West Harlem Development Corporation, and the people who work here are very dedicated to supporting our community in so many different ways. When we review the applications, we're going to receive many, dozens from the arts sector. We're going to work with organizations such as the West Harlem Arts Alliance to help us review the arts applications because they know practically every arts organization and every artist in the community. And if you are not familiar with the West Harlem Arts Alliance,
Well,
I highly suggest that you connect to them because they're the pretty much the head of the octopus. You know, that's where all the information goes in about the arts, and they can really help you. Please, everybody, mute if you don't mind. But they'll really be able to help you collaborate, connect with other artists, find out about grants opportunities besides us, get together for wine and cheeses and learn about the arts in West Harlem and find out how there are more opportunities for yourself as well. We're also trying to create, and we're almost there, a seniors coalition in West Harlem. And that seniors coalition is going to include executive directors of all the senior centers and anyone who runs or leads or is heavily interested in senior programming or seniors services. And that coalition is also going to be sort of a one-stop shop for seniors programming in the district. Other districts have coalitions like these. We want to make sure that our seniors are served as well. But here we are again. Many of you have gone through this process, and we wish you Godspeed. We wish you that you continue to do the hard work that you do to serve the community. We take your work very seriously. We've done many, many site visits to many of you. You guys, we try to be helpful. And I've got to jump off to another Zoom, and I want to hand this off to Joanna Castro, the program director and the very able person who's most knowledgeable about the CBG, the grant process, and someone you'll be communicating with any of your questions or any comments. But hopefully, her slideshow that she's going to present to you will answer all of your questions in advance. We had, I think, just over 70 RSVPs. We have 70 participants right now. That's really wonderful. I'm really glad that everybody's showing up. This is vital to our community. We want to spend $2 million in grants in the community. We want to divide that up amongst all the different organizations. We usually receive about 110, 120 applications. We would find it a great success if we received 150 applications. But the most important thing is please, 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 please follow the instructions. The instructions are in the application. They're very clear. And please follow the timeline. If you are late, we're going to be less forgiving than we have been in the past. In the past, we've let some people slide, but it really we're getting from dozens down to 20, down to 10. We really need everybody to be on time. We wanted to do this a week after we launched because we wanted to make sure that people have another 3 weeks or so to complete their application and get all their questions in immediately. Please cooperate with Joanna Castro and Franklin Nibbs and the rest of the WHDC staff. Please give them the information that they request as soon as possible to ensure that you can get the most of what you're asking for. Once again, I thank you. Godspeed to you all. We really thank you for all the hard work that you do for our community. Please keep it up. We want to see you grow. We want to see you succeed. We want to be there with you to make this happen for the betterment of our community. Thank you very much. I hand this off to Joanna Castro. Have a good day, everyone, and I hope you learn as much as you can in this info session. Thank you.
Thank you, Siad. Thank you, Siad, and thank you, Frank, for the introduction, the warm welcome. Good morning, everyone. So a few quick notes. This program is being recorded. We invite you to use the chat box to introduce yourself and your organization. No solicitations, please. The Q&A session will follow this presentation, so please hold your questions until the end. Please mute your lines, and we will share a contact list of the attendees. Please email us at grants@westharlemdc.org if you do not want to be included in the list. So now let's get started. So as Siad mentioned a few moments ago, we will be awarding $2 million to local nonprofit organizations that serve the West Harlem community. The deadline is Friday, June 21st, summer solstice at 5 p.m. Please submit your application in full. In other words, your complete application with all the supporting materials. It will make your application more competitive. A quick note, if you need captions, you can click on the bottom of your screen to get captions of today's presentation. The two key dates of the grant cycle are July 1st, 2024 and June 30th, 2025. That means that your project can start as early as July 1st of this year. It must end or be completed by June 30th, 2025. We expect notification and payment of that first installment to be done September of 2024. Every year we have a new cover. A big thank you to Behind the Book. They uploaded to this recording documents this photo as part of a recent report. This is also the cover of our website, so westharlemdc.org. You'll want to go to the grant section and then click Apply to the 2024 CBG. You can also click on More Information. When you do so, you will see the calendar, which I showed you a few slides ago, as well as a link to the Fluxx grants portal and our guidelines. You can also see a list of the current grantees. Key elements of the application. We have 6 priority sectors or areas. We also have sub-priority areas. Applicants must be New York State registered 501c3 organizations. At least 75% of the beneficiaries must be West Harlem residents. We also ask for supporting documents, the most up-to-date supporting documents. Be sure to have general liability insurance for your public-facing programs, and whenever possible, be ADA compliant. One key element, or one new element rather, of this year's CBG is a Columbia in-kind space. So you're able to host a variety of different events at Columbia. Please visit our website, westharlemdc.org, to access the Columbia University link. Please read the guidelines before applying. The portal opens the first full week of the month, which means that it will open this coming Monday. If you are considering applying for the in-kind program as part of your project, be sure to mention it in your application. The priority areas are arts and culture, as Siad mentioned. We will be working closely with the West Harlem Arts Alliance. The other priority areas are economic workforce development, health and human services, housing affordability and preservation, older adults, and youth. So these are the same priority areas that we've had in the past. We ask that you choose a priority area that best represents your project scope, organizational capacity, and history. The same applies for the sub-priority area. Key elements of a successful application. Wanted to add this slide so that you see what we're looking for and what makes a grant application competitive. Please read the guidelines and eligibility requirements, particularly if you're a new applicant or you're a new contact for your organization. Answer each question with detail. I'm looking to see a crisp black and white photograph versus an impressionist painting, if that serves as some guidance. Upload all requested and most up-to-date supporting documents. A key requirement for returning applicants, be sure to submit your 2023 CBG final report by the deadline, which is July 12th. The template will go live a month beforehand. You will get an email when it goes live. Here are the distribution points for the application, and you'll see that they correspond with the hyperlinks within the application. So the what are you trying to do with your project? That's a project narrative, and that's worth the most number of points, 30. Other key elements, of course, are the budget, so how funds will be spent. And also as important is the executive summary. I recommend folks to do that at the very end because you would have been mulling over, working on your application, and you want that phrase to be really succinct and represent what you're trying to get done. A brief note about funding. These year's grants will range in dollar amount between $5,000 and $30,000. We pay 2 installments via ACH. The first installment is done upon receipt of the signed grant agreement, and the second one upon successful review of the interim and in some cases the final report. If we do not see enough progress in your interim report, we will postpone payment to the final report. Now we will transition and spend a few minutes with different elements of Fluxx. So what you're seeing right now is the Fluxx page. You'll want to bookmark West Harlem DC.fluxx.io. This is the portal you will use to submit your application as well as for reporting. On the left-hand side where you see login now, that is where you will plug in your username and password if you are a returning applicant or a returning grantee. If you forgot your password, please go to reset or create a password and the system will automatically send you a link and next steps. If you are a new applicant or a new contact for your organization, you will want to go here to create an account. Make sure you have either a 990 or a CHAR 500 document handy, as well as social media information, as you will need this to open your account. I, on the back end, approve it, so please make sure you complete it in full. Again, something that we've seen in the past and we want to emphasize, do not use your colleagues' access to create an application. Be sure that you're accessing Fluxx with your own account. This is what the grants portal looks like once you access it. So this is the heart of the portal. A few key elements, the document library, we've revamped it for this cycle. So if you're looking for short videos on key elements of Fluxx, you can view them there. They're usually about 3 to 5 minutes long. You will also see some documents that are templates. Once you're ready to start your application, you will want to click on 2024 CBG Community Benefits Grant. You will see the guidelines, which you can also access on our website. And when you are ready to start, you'll click on Apply Here. Again, the Fluxx website is westharlemdc.fluxx.io. You'll want to bookmark it as that's how you will be able to access the application. Few key points: make sure you auto-save. The system does not, make sure you save regularly rather, because Fluxx does not auto-save. You'll see these hyperlinks here, and they correspond to the point system that we had a few slides ago. In terms of executive summary, statement of need, project narrative, and so forth. Other key buttons within the application: save, and then save and close if you are temporarily exiting the Fluxx portal. This is the start of the application, and you'll be filling in different elements. The primary contact does not have to be the same as the signature. It could be, it doesn't have to be. We invite you to use the text enrichment tools to make the reading more inviting and for it to stand out. As Sia mentioned a few moments ago, we have 102 grantees in this year's cohort, and we expect a similar or even larger number for the 2024 CBG grant cycle. Towards the end of the application template, you will see application attachments. They're right here, so you'll want to click on the plus sign and upload each document. Depending on the size of the budget, we ask for certain documents. They're listed in the gray box. Please be sure to label the document accordingly. In a recent application, I received an error, personal insurance information from an applicant. Key buttons again: save, save, and close. This is what the project budget template looks like. It's an Excel chart. You want to make sure that your application says WHDC, CBG. I purposely added all of these different circles as a reminder of all of the different areas that you need to complete before uploading this document to your application. So section 1, general information, general budget information. Section 2 is your income. So you'll want to separate it by buckets with confirmed and pending and the dollar amount. Expenses buckets and dollar amount, and the person completing the application, which doesn't necessarily have to be the same person who's submitting the application. In some cases, we have seen the board treasurer or the accountant complete the budget information, yet the executive director or the program manager submit the application, and that's fine. These two areas that are in dark gray are to be completed with the interim report, interim year to date. Then at the end of the grant cycle, the final report. So you want to leave these two darker columns blank. The arrows are the instructions. Please read the instructions before completing this form, and you will want to only complete the grant budget tab for your application. This is the very end of the application template. This is a gentle reminder that you've uploaded all of these documents, the most updated documents that you have in terms of the financials. If you have a candid profile, we welcome for you to send your candid profile link in lieu of your 990 and HR 500. The project budget template, which we discussed a few moments ago, and the most updated list of your board members. Then the person completing the application will type in their full name and their title. As we come to a close, I wanted to mention a few more, key points of a successful grant application. Please do not copy and paste last year's application. Real people read your application. We know that AI is a fact of life. Be mindful of how you use it. Because it shows when there's a document that is all AI, it doesn't have a look and feel of a document wording written by a person. We are looking for any element that will make your application ineligible, meaning if your project is in the Bronx or in Lower Manhattan. So you really want to make sure you're abiding by the guidelines. In terms of the budget, you can only apply up to 50% of your total project budget. We're also making sure that your mission is aligned with your project. Now, as we begin to wrap up the presentation part of today, as mentioned earlier, today's presentation is being recorded and we will post it on our website in the coming days. If there are questions that have not been answered during the presentation or the Q&A, you can email me at grants@west, notice the typo there. My apologies, at westharlemdc.org. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We post other grant opportunities as well as programs taking place in West Harlem and Uptown by our grantees and by other community partners. Again, the deadline to submit your complete application is Friday, June 21st, summer solstice at 5 p.m. I believe that's a wrap, and now I look forward to answering any questions that you might have. So I'll be taking a look at the chat. We'll stay on for a bit. In case you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. Not sure, I understand the question. Is this the first time that you offer any support? We've been offering the CBGs for the last several years. If you need assistance with the grant, if you have specific questions rather, you can email them to me. We hope that this info session was helpful. So you want to be as specific as possible of what you're looking for with our grant. Can you apply to 2 different programs? Yes and no. So in your narrative, you are making the case for what you're looking for WHDC to fund. It will make it harder if you have 2 different programs within one narrative because you're making the case for 2 different projects. So my recommendation would be to apply for 1 program. Are there any other questions or comments? So before you apply, we ask that you complete your information in Fluxx. We are not connected or affiliated with the grants gateway portal. So I believe that's a city funded or a city grants portal. We are not connected to that one. The final report needs to be submitted by July 12th, which is the deadline. So I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive that you need to submit your 2024 CBG application by June 21st. and your final report by July 12th. The reasoning there is that the current grant cycle ends June 30th, and we want to give grantees a little bit of a buffer time to complete their final report. This summer, we will be reviewing both the application as well as your final report if you are a returning applicant. Any further questions or comments?
I have a question.
Sure, Bridget, would you
Can I
mind?
do it? Sorry, can I do it live or should I put it in the chat?
Well, since you're on, sure.
When you were
make it-
talking about, sorry, the financial report, you said something about candid something, I thought, instead of, and I wasn't clear about instead of the 990, I wasn't sure what you were saying then.
Sure. So, Candid was formerly known as the Foundation Center. And there are a database of, grants as well as nonprofit organizations. So you can create for free a Candid profile and upload your financial information. If that's the case, then you can, in lieu of submitting your 990 and your Chart 500, send us the link of your profile.
Ah, okay. Okay, thanks.
Sure thing.
Joanna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great, thanks. I had a trouble with my headset for a second there. Someone is asking a question with regard. I'm not understanding the question, but with regard to state certification, and their 501c3 status. I was wondering if you can clarify that for that particular question.
Sure. So, the 501c3 status is mentioned in our guidelines. So we ask that the organization be a full-fledged 501c3 with ideally at least 2 years of programming. So if you're just getting started, our grant application might not be right for you at this time. I still encourage organizations to follow us on social media as we post other grant opportunities for longstanding or up-and-coming 501c3s. In terms of the in-kind space, you can apply for public-facing programming as well as for workshops. Be mindful that the beneficiaries must be West Harlem residents, so we're not looking to approve weekly meetings, for example. If you have any questions, you can email us grants@westharlemdc.org. I know several grantees are on the line, and I think they can vouch that I try to be very responsive to questions that you might have. Lenox Avenue is not in West Harlem, so that would not be considered a West Harlem location for an event. Any additional questions or comments?
Joanna?
Yes.
Yeah, just for clarification, because I'm seeing a few questions with regard to an organization's nonprofit status. And just to clarify, nonprofit status is a federal determination. And of the many various kinds of nonprofits out there, the ones that can qualify for this grant opportunity are 501c3s, as opposed to, I guess, 501B4 or B2 or C1, C2, and C4. 501c3 is required for this grant opportunity, I believe. Joanna, please correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe with respect to if you're a new nonprofit, I guess that means if you're a new or have been recently determined to be a 501c3 nonprofit. I think there's a question here with respect to is this grant opportunity good for them as a new nonprofit?
So yes, only 501c3 organizations can apply. If you're a recent organization, meaning the last 6 months or even the last year, I would really consider holding off on applying. These are competitive grants. So just because an applicant submits all of the documents, doesn't guarantee that the organization will get the full amount. The history, the capacity is a key element. So if you're just getting started, it will be difficult to prove that capacity and that mission being accomplished. If this organization wants a little bit more clarity, again, feel free to email me at grants. I know there was a typo, so it should be West, WEST, HARLEMDC.org.
Excuse me, good afternoon. May I
Good
ask a
afternoon.
Hi. I put the question in the chat, but I'll just, and it has to do with applying for space, the in-kind space. And what is the turnaround time for a response? So that in case it doesn't come through, you can look for other options.
That has many legs and components, so it's getting a review that the application merits pre-approval. It also requires availability, basically that that date is available. Then we need a budget, so it takes a while. We just approved batch 1, and it took about 2 months because we are starting the 2024 CBG. The turnaround will probably be that. In the guidelines, you will see that we ask plenty of lead time to do just that, to avoid a time crunch of the applicant needing a response ASAP, and because of all the different elements, not being able to respond super quick. So
Okay.
the long-ended answer is lead time is the way to go in terms of requesting the in-kind space.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure thing. The boundaries for West Harlem, you can go to the CB9 website to get the boundaries. And that's cb9m.org. And that's our local community board. Thanks, folks. These are really great questions. I think we're winding down unless there are any more questions. Someone raise their hand?
Yes, I had a question.
Sure.
I have a not-for-profit. It's been operating since 2019. We don't see the same children regularly. Would that be an issue? I tried to apply for a different grant, and they told me that in order to show impact that I had to be working with the same amount of kids for, a year or so. Does that apply here, or?
Well, you'll want to make the case of how many kids you've been working with since your organization started and explain, provide more insight as to why the number or the kids are changing and what your goal is.
Okay, thank you so
So,
much.
you want to basically give an explanation.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thank you, folks. I see there's still 69 on the line, 68 now. For those who are not speaking, if you could mute yourself, please. And I see 2 raised hands. If one person wants to speak.
Can you hear me? I have a question.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Will this recording be available to view again in case we missed anything?
Yes, so in the coming days, we will post it on our website and we will announce it on social media. If you want a recording, send me an email to grants@westharlemdc.org and I'll be sure to email you the link. There was someone
Thank you.
else. Sure thing. There was someone else who had their hand raised. Is there someone else who had another question? Maybe it was answered, or maybe it was that same question. Okay, I think we're coming to an end. Thank you so much for attending. I hope this info session was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, email us at grants@westharlemdc.org. The deadline to submit your application in full is Friday, June 21st, summer solstice at 5 p.m. Have a wonderful rest of the day.